Welcome to Heroes Rising, hosted by Sifu Rafael, a master instructor, public speaker, and the founder of Speaking Prowess. Known for his expertise in empowering individuals through the art of communication and leadership. Alongside him is co-host Jose Escobar, an acclaimed personal development speaker, 18-time published author, and founder of 2 thriving businesses, including the Connected Leaders Academy. Together, they bring you dynamic conversations with world-class entrepreneurs, industry icons, and visionaries. Heroes Rising is your go-to source for wisdom, motivation, and unstoppable growth. Join us and discover the hero within you.
Jose, happy Friday, my friend.
Happy Friday. Hope you're ready for a great weekend. I know I am.
Oh, yeah, always. But, you know, your mentor and my mentor probably may have known each other because they never said weekend. They said strong end, right?
Yes, the strong end, right? Yes.
So I'm super excited. We have 2 exceptional young ladies coming on to share some knowledge with us, and I am beyond thrilled. So let's not waste any time and let's bring them on. Lena and Shannon. Hello.
Good day, everyone.
Good to be back with you, Sifu.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you and Lena.
Exciting. Before we go in,
Happy
Sifu,
Friday. I love Fridays.
I do too.
Yes.
Before Sifu, we go into anything, I have to just bring this to everyone's attention. And I'm sure this is public news because you're all over social media. And that is, you just had surgery yesterday.
Yes, so
you are in a sling and you should be in your bed, but no, you are hosting multiple shows today, and here you are making it happen. So let's just let the world know, why is Sifu showing up today, even though he should be in bed right now?
because winners find a way to win, Jose, and that's your quote.
I see. But couldn't you be waiting in bed, resting?
Listen to me. If I sleep more than 6 hours, my body's in pain. So what do I want to have my body in pain for? I'm not going to bed. I'm not going to bed till way later. Yeah, I might be in a sling. You know, I'm only using one arm today. But hey, guess what? And even my fiance said to me earlier today, she goes, "You did all these things?" I said, "Yeah, I got one arm." She goes, "I said, never doubt my left hand because I have 2 hands. And I learned early on in life that if you have something, use it." I taught myself to be ambidextrous probably at the age of 9. So I can write with my left hand. I can do everything with my left hand.
Motivated child, motivated 9-year-old.
I'm going to tell you why, because at 10 years old, I hurt my right hand by accident. And so I said, now what do? I'm in school, I'm in class. And they said, write this down. I'm like, well, I have another hand, let's use it. And I taught myself how to do it. At first, yeah, I looked like a kindergartner, when I was 8 or 9, whatever it was. But then I said, you know what, I'm going to make this happen. And then so it became another tool I didn't know I had. So I do a lot of art murals, and Jose's seen some of them. I work with my hands, and what a gift. So yeah, how could I miss this show today with these 2 incredible women? And my friend Jose. I should say my brother Jose.
We appreciate.
Let's dive in. Lena, why don't you start and tell us a bit about you and say hello, and then we'll go to Heather.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It is so fun to be here today. Thank you so much. And I started saying I love Fridays because it's a weekend eve, right? Like, it doesn't matter what you have planned. There is always that anticipation that, you know what, I'm going to have some extra time. So I'm delighted to be here with all of you today. My name is Lena Khais, and I have recently met Sifu and Jose and became a quick friend. In my free time, I coach people how to manifest more money into their business. I refer to myself as your money M&M, money mindset and manifestation coach. And I am here to help everybody manifest 2026 by design and not by default.
Love it. Thank you. Heather, let's hear from you.
Yes. So I'm a certified sex therapist. I also host a podcast, just one though. I host a podcast called Ask a Sex Therapist. And I work with people in committed relationships who have lost the sexy spark to get the passion and the connection back in their lives.
Love that.
Fantastic. So let's dive into today's topic, reigniting passion and prosperity. So who wants to open up with, how about passion? I like passion.
Ooh.
I like that you guys combined these two topics. You know, I think there is kind of a cool synchronicity there of just inviting abundance. And, you know, Lena, you mentioned energy. I think both kind of have this energy to them that's important. Like when people are in touch with passion in general, I mean, because passion doesn't have to only apply to your sex life. But when people are in touch with that, and when they're in touch specifically with their sexual energy, it could just put more pep in your step, you know? Like my clients will tell me, you know, yeah, when we're feeling more connected in the sexual realm, then we're also feeling like, oh, I'm a little bit better at work. I'm like kind of on top of my game with, you know, teaching my classes or making presentations or whatever it is. And so I love that synchronicity, that it's really holistic, you know? It's like, to me, sex is not just about sex. It's about how are you feeling in your body? How are you feeling in your mind? How are you feeling in your spirit? How can you be present and connect with someone authentically? And then kind of the ripple effect of the benefits that come from that.
Love that. I got to say, when you say we connected these two together, we'll think about passion, how it connects with money. When people have the wrong passion about money, they go broke. Isn't that true, Lena? Lena, you there? Am I muted?
Delay.
There's a delay.
Hello?
There's a delay. That's all, Steve.
Oh. Did you hear us? Did you hear me, Lena?
I
Oh,
heard
you
your
hear-
question, and it's a great
Okay.
question. I don't know that people, yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So I love your question, because it is very true that people around money, wanting to have more money, makes them some kind of a human. Perhaps that would imply that they're greedy, or that they're a bad person, that they would want to have more of what they potentially have. And the truth is, there are so many people who have way less than what they have. So I usually say that money is truly energy. It is here to be circulated, and it is here to create the momentum for whatever it is you want to apply that momentum for. And I agree with Heather. It is true. It is the frequency that you bring to it that defines how it's going to vibe, right? You can have a very healthy, passionate relationship, whether friendship or love, romantic relationship, and that is true for money as well. It is how you choose to perceive the experience and define the frequency that you're putting yourself on with that.
Mm-hmm. I also think there's a interesting overlap that both sex and money can be seen as superficial. And I've had clients say to me that, you know, I finally had to just admit sex is important to me, even if people think it's superficial, like if this is something I value. And really at the end of the day, though, it's like, it's not superficial, you know, like I think you guys said something, Jose, maybe about filling your cup, you know, and I think sex is something that often fills people's cup, but it's also more than the act of sex. It's the sexual energy. And even if you're not partnered or not sexually active, like the energy is still there. Like sexual energy is life force energy. So to me, it's kind of the furthest thing from superficial. And I can think the same. I'd love to actually hear from Lena more about money and how that can be perceived as superficial, but maybe isn't.
I'm gonna when Lena. I don't know. There's a delay somewhere. So can you guys hear me? On
Yes.
real time? Okay. So one of the things that I see is, and I love what Lena talked about, is because think about people who do philanthropy work. For example, Bill Gates, right? He's a man who makes a lot of money, but he wants to make more money because he wants to impact the world in a bigger way. Now, there's some people out there who are making a lot of money and they don't care about other people. They just care about themselves. So we have that variety of people. But I think when people start to make more money, look at Jeff Bezos, right? We don't know him as a philanthropist, but we know his ex-wife.
Mm-hmm.
And she's giving up billions of dollars to help humanity. And I think that just goes to show it's money in the right hands is a great thing. Money in the wrong hands can also be something else to talk about. And therefore a lot of people see or perceive somebody with a lot of money as the negative. But meanwhile, I know so many people who are super wealthy. I'm very good close with a bunch of billionaires, and they're super great at helping other people. So it's about what you do with the money that you do make. And if it's all just about you, if you do lose it, who's going to step up to help you? Right? So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the audio piece is a little off today. I'm not sure what's going on, but anyway, absolutely love. I think passion and prosperity, they definitely speak to each other. And in terms of the money piece that we were just talking about, for me, it's like,
Well,
I don't know who said it best. Oh, go ahead, Lena. Please, Lena. I know you've been trying to say something with the lag, so go ahead, Lena.
Lena, I'm gonna suggest maybe you go out and come back. That sometimes fixes the lag. If you can do that.
okay.
So go ahead, Jose, and then she'll come back and be full force, which we know she will be.
Did we lose Jose too?
Jose left. Jose left. He's like,
Oh,
what?
no.
So Lena, if you can log off and log back on, or even just hit refresh on your page, and it'll bring you back. Right.
It looks like she's back now.
Can you speak now?
I am back.
All right.
Yeah, can you hear me better, guys?
Yes, that's awesome. So hopefully Jose will rejoin back in.
But I think we lost Jose.
Okay. Listen, I'm just lucky to be with you ladies, so go ahead. Jose will be back. He'll be back.
So we're just going to go along with it. What I was going to add is that whether we talk about sexual energy or we talk about money energy, we're talking energy, period. Mm-hmm. And energy is neutral. It is truly how you apply it that is going to either make it or break it, right? Think of it as electricity. You can power up a home, or you can create, mass destruction. And I think this is probably where so many stories come in. And I'm sure, Heather, you deal with this all the time, because not just we form our beliefs based on our experiences, we also learn the beliefs by how we're raised. And I'm going to date myself. I was born in the 70s. And there was a period of time where, we didn't talk about sex per se, right? It was a taboo subject. We didn't discuss money. Like, did you ever have your parents sit down with you and be like, we're going to talk about how we manage our budget? Would you ever dream about asking your father, how much are you making? You'd be bitten probably with a wooden spoon. And then we become adults and we're like, oh, money is fine. It's a creative energy. You can invest, you can donate, you can contribute. And we're like, no, I think money is the shady friend. Like, I'm curious about it, but I'm not going to bring it home to my mom. Those are just beliefs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very interesting because my parents, and like you said, never talked to me about money. And I did go with my dad because he owned a bunch of beauty salons. So I did go to him, and I actually worked for him when I was like 9 years old. And he paid me $7 to clean the windows. He didn't have to pay me because I was going to do it anyway. But so he showed me, here's some money for you for your hard work. And then I would associate with the kid whose parents were working. It's just you and me now, kid.
No.
Whose parents were working on the pizzeria, and he was doing ices for everybody. And he and I would connect, and we would talk about. He was making money, I'm making money, and it wasn't a lot of money, $7 back then. But it was still a way. But my parents never talked to me about money like you suggested, Lena. I changed that with my kids. I taught them the 4 principles of money and the ones that I believe were important. And I went to the bank when my son was 3 years old and my other one was six years old. And I took him to the bank and I said, we're going to get 4 piggy banks from the bank. They were giving away piggy banks. And I said, I need 8 piggy banks and I need to open 8 accounts, 4 accounts per child. And each one, and I taught my kids, one is for savings, one is for investing, the other one is for tithing, and the last one is for fun. So here we go, and I come back home, I do an arts and crafts project. They have to draw things, they have to clip things out, and they glue them on these piggy banks. And I put in big words what they're for. And so what winds up happening is, I said, every time you get money from your birthday, holidays, whatever, you take the money and you split it into these 4 equal parts, right? It has to be equal. And then you can't touch the savings. And you don't know about investing yet, but I'm going to start selling, teaching you how to do stocks and all this stuff. So they start going on it. And then my youngest one would always negotiate with me. He's a good negotiator. He would go, Dad, can we go to Toys R Us? This is when Toys R Us were everywhere. And I said, no, I'm not going to Toys R Us. Oh, Dad, please. I said, sure, we can take you to Toys R Us. I said, but I'm not buying anything. So he would come in and he would go, Dad, can I have this? And I'm like, I told you I'm not buying anything. He goes, Dad, I got money at home in my piggy bank. And I said, how much do you have? I don't know. I said, so how do you know how much this is? So I started teaching him the value of knowing what everything's worth. And I still wouldn't buy him something. So once in a blue, I would. And I say to him, I said, Giovanni, I'm gonna split it with you. If I buy it, you got to give me half. And whenever he gave me half, I just put it back in the investment part. So that way I wasn't taking his money. I'm not like that. So what wound up happening is my kids understood the value of money. One of my sons, Giovanni, always wanted to use the fun money. Always. And I'm like, you're not going to have anything. He goes, whatever. So not too long ago, when he was, I think, 18 or 19, he goes, Dad, I think I'm going to retire very soon. And I'm like, retire? You're not even 20. He goes, I know, but I have enough money that I can actually retire. And I said to him, I said, really, what are you going to do? He goes, I don't know. I'm going to go work for a company. I'm like, but you're right. You said retire. He goes, no, I want to go work for a company so I can learn how they do things. So he worked the night shift from 12 to 8 a.m. And then he worked at another place just so he can learn. And then when he did retire at 20, this is crazy. He now works 5 to 45 minutes a day. He's a day broker. And one day I see he's got all these expensive sports cars. And I said, Giovanni, what are you doing with all these cars? I said, you can only drive one anyway. He goes, Dad, don't worry. That's my fun money. So knowing that he understands, because he's a day trader, he understands stocks. He understood everything, that all the principles I taught him. So why are we not teaching our kids about money at the earliest stages so they understand the value of money. And I love what you do, Lena, because this is exactly, you're teaching adults who still don't know the value of money. So props to you. And welcome back, Jose. We missed you.
Yeah, no, I was trying to say a thought before everything, all hell broke loose. Now we can play the, I guess, musical chairs because we're in different spots from what I see. But
I can switch that, you know.
no, we're good. I like it this way. The way, and when it comes to the money piece and prosperity, I think prosperity for sure is alignment with your vision, mission, purpose in life way before it's income. And a lot of us are all worried about money and making that next 100,000 or trying to get to six figures or trying to get to 500,000 or seven figures or eight figures or wherever people are. Everybody has this idea of prosperity and they kind of automatically just attach it to money. But I think prosperity really is alignment with the bigger things, the bigger play. Like, what is your purpose? Why are you here, even here on Earth? What is your mission? What is your vision? What are you trying to do? Right? When who you are is in alignment with what you do, frankly, money is a byproduct. It's not necessarily a goal of where we want to go. It's just a natural thing. When you're serving people and you're living within your passion, right? What happens is you make money by default. That's just part of the deal.
Yeah, I think when we're pursuing our passion, it's a lot easier to make money. So this is a funny conversation because I actually have a degree in finance. My undergrad is in finance, so I am a career changer. I knew I didn't want to go into that field, but I think I almost forget that I have that degree because I don't use it at all. But I do think even though I'm in more of a relationship focused field, I'm still a self-employed person. Just understanding, interest rates and numbers and being willing to look at numbers and even the work I do with couples. A couple I was working with, they were buying a house and they're like having all these emotions, right? Which is kind of my realm. But I was like, well, what are your numbers? And they're like, well, we don't know. We haven't looked at the numbers. And so I was kind of like, I think there's a practical aspect of this too. There's the passion and there's the pursuing what you're into, but there's also the really kind of grounded, like root chakra stuff of, do the spreadsheet, like look at your data, make data driven decisions. It's not as sexy, right? But what I've learned is that creating that foundation allows us to kind of have the fun. And that's kind of what you were talking about with your kids, Sifu, is like you're creating this foundation of savings and investments so that you can have a chunk for fun and it's still responsible, because I've also personally gone off in the not as foundation direction with money. And I've had to learn the hard way, and so some of us have to learn the hard way and then really work on a relationship with money. But to me, it also fuels the passion when we have the stable foundation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think knowing your numbers is fun. Go ahead, Lena.
Yeah, I love what you said, Heather, about relationship, right? Like we should teach how to interact with money. We should teach how to interact with other humans because it's not by default. And unfortunately, at times we learn pretty destructive ways of handle both relationship, sex, and money. So if you are afraid of something, if it was positioned for you that this is a bad thing, and I'll talk about money because, that's kind of in my job description, we grow up believing that money is evil. Like when I had kids, my kids were little and they watched cartoons. Who had the money in any fairy tale? Certainly wasn't the good guy, right? And if we try to find like a female character who actually had money, who comes to mind? Cruella de Vil. Not exactly the role model you want the girl to grow up being. I mean, she owned a business, right? She owned the business, she had style, and she killed puppies for fabric. Right. Like, hello, get out of my house.
Right. And then otherwise you think of Scrooge.
Right.
So
who learned the value of relationships, and then the money didn't matter.
Yeah.
True.
Right? I like that you brought that up, by the way. That's pretty cool. No silence here.
I think
Just
I think
looking.
money does matter. I feel like it's easy to get, and as much as I feel like maybe I even feel like relationships matter more. I think at the end of the day, if you don't have money but you have community, like you're usually going to be okay, and that's another form of abundance. And there's like the Harvard longevity research study that has found it's actually your community, your social connection that helps you live longer than even like nutrition and exercise, which is wild.
Yeah,
Think
I
of
was,
the caveman, right? Go ahead, Jose. Go ahead.
There was like three of us at one time. Just really quick, I was going to say that when it comes to like what was just stated with prosperity and money and it not being a bad thing, I don't believe money is a bad thing either. I mean, I think it's a good thing. It's a healthy thing if managed well and for the right purposes, right? Because we all need money in order to help people. Right, you can't give what you don't have. If you're broke and somebody else is broke, well, you can't help each other outside of money. But a lot of things cost money. That's the world we live in, right? So if we want to build a home for somebody or a school for someone, or buy them a backpack because they don't have one, or shoes or clothes or food, that costs money. So money in itself is not an issue, right? It's the issue can come into play when your success starts costing you your family. It starts costing you your health. It starts costing you your integrity, right? When those things start coming into play, now the price of prosperity and success is too expensive, right? Because now we're talking about I'm like, what's the point of having a nice Ferrari in the driveway if you barely drive it because you're at work all the time or slaving away, and you have this massive, beautiful, multi-million-dollar home that you're never really enjoying, and your marriage is falling apart and your kids don't like you, right? So it's just one of those things where it's like, at what point does it become too expensive? So as long as there's a healthy balance, then it's a good thing, because prosperity grows where the value flows, right? Very important to know.
There's a couple that I know.
That is so well put.
So I'll go and then you can go. There's a couple that I know who bought one of the most expensive houses in the neighborhood near me, and they were not happy because they could not invite anybody to their house because they had lawn chairs for their furniture, and they basically slept on the floor. But they had this gorgeous, beautifully manicured house because they were trying to impress everybody. And when they realized that they no longer needed to do that, they bought a smaller home. They made some money in the process because they sold this expensive house. Now they can have furniture. Now they can have friends over. Their life became better because it was more about the connections, not what I have. And they understood that the money was a way to not impress others, but impress upon themselves that the life was worth living more than showing off.
Yeah, I think that goes back to like being present, like really tuning into what's important. And I think that's something I've kind of explored or grappled with a little bit, is like, where does money fit in my priorities? Where do relationships fit? And is that are my actual values being reflected in how I'm showing up and living my life? That wasn't always the case. And so sometimes I think making some changes. And I think, people like Lena, who are kind of sharing that, how energy can be used and money as energy, I think it's very important to just have those examples out there, And for me, Brooke Castillo, who founded the Life Coach School, is someone who has made hundreds of millions of dollars, but also talks a lot about the relationship with money and what we think is possible and the self-limiting beliefs about money. And so for me, that's been a really great example to even witness other people getting coached, like on group coaching calls, and to see like, oh, maybe I am having some limiting beliefs around this. Maybe I'm not fully creating what I want in this way. So I think it's an amazing path for personal growth, actually.
I got to tell you, I want to hear from Lena because she's the money girl.
Yeah.
Let's go, Lena.
I'm going to tell you something that might surprise you. People don't actually want money. They want what's beyond that, right? So every time when I sit down with a new person who comes into my world and I ask, what would you love? And they would usually give me a number, right? Because I primarily work with business owners. So they know their bottom line, they know their profit and loss, they have goals, and they will give me a number. Numbers mean nothing to the universe, absolutely nothing, because there is no frequency to the number. We as humans assign a frequency through emotions. This is why if you tell me that you want to make $40,000 a month, and you're like, why am I not making it? Because universe doesn't understand what you're asking. Because 40,000 US dollars, 40,000 pesos, 40,000 what? So the question that I usually ask is, what would having that money give you? And that's when the conversation really starts. It's about then, oh, I would be able to send my kids to whatever school they want to go to. Or I would be able to host a family reunion and bring all of my relatives to see me. Or I'm going to go off the grid and I'm going to live in the woods and I'm not going to care about any of this nonsense. Then we start getting somewhere. That infuses the energy behind it. And then universe is like, got it. Okay. Here's the cool part. You might actually end up making more than you asked for, or you may end up making less. But as long as you are calibrating to that frequency, it's never about the money. You might still feel closer to your family. Your kids might still get to be at places that serve their future best. It's not up to us. We're here to set the intention for what we want and what would having that give us. And then universe will deliver the how and the when.
Yes, love that. How and when? That's a question a lot of people ask. How am I going to get this money and when is it coming? But is that the right sequence, right? Because when they're chasing the money, are they shooting themselves in the foot?
Speaking of that, when people chase something, it runs, right? I heard that before. So when you're chasing the money, it's going to run away from you, right? You have to attract it. You don't chase it, right? And you attract it by developing your skill sets, by serving people, because the marketplace will pay you based on the value that you bring to it, right? And you reap what you sow. The more you give, the more you get, right? If you help enough people get what they want, you get what you need, right? It's all these different things that we could say. So and also on another note, on the same kind of breath here, is prosperity isn't just what you earn, it's what you keep as well, right? It's what you enjoy, what you multiply, what you divide up into the world, right? It could be your family, your legacy, your friends, the people that you serve, right? It's lonely at the top. I don't believe that. If it's lonely at the top, I don't want to be at the top, right? You want to take people with you, right? And that's where the abundance comes into play. And prosperity and abundance are interconnected. So just a few thoughts.
Yeah. Before we go on, I would just want to share this with everybody. Take a look.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JAESCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
Woohoo, I think I know that guy. And by the way, Lena, you're part of the Connected Leaders Academy. Heather, you're not, but I know the guy. I know a guy. You need to join the Connected Leaders Academy, and now you see the guy. He's even wearing the shirt.
I always see that.
You know, the good thing about Jose is that I know he has more than one shirt, because otherwise it would be like, oh, Jose. No, but it's Jose, because when we think about branding, he brands it beautifully. Anytime he goes to an event, he's got shirts, he's got different color ones and all that. And Jose, I think I need a level up my shirts, man. I don't know. I'm just saying. But Lena, you came to our event this past weekend and you talked about energy. Would you mind talking about that a little bit? And then I'm going to present something. Actually, let me present it first, and then we'll have you come on. Ready?
The city never sleeps, and neither do the dreamers who build its pulse. From every corner of the globe they come. Visionaries, creators, leaders, each carrying a spark ready to ignite the world. This is not an event, it's a revolution of rhythm and reason. A symphony of minds, a movement of momentum. Sifu, Rafael, Lancelot, Jose Escobar. Together they set the stage for brilliance. This is the NYC experience. Mastermind, light up the city. They coming from the east, coming from the west. Knowledge on deck, put the truth to the test. Leaders in motion, hearts in sync, dropping wisdom so deep it'll make you think. They bring stories, sweat and flame, different faces, one shared name. Elevation, that's the sound. NYC experience, mastermind, where purpose is found.
Boom! I get moving every time I hear that.
Me too.
Very catchy.
Yeah, so Tampa is going to be our next event. It's going to be February 27th.
That's where I live.
So you're coming then. Look at that.
All right,
So,
right.
Lena, we lost Jose again. He's having internet issues. If you don't mind talking about the energy that you felt this weekend, because you work on energy.
It was so fun to be with people. And I mentioned Sifu before we went live that for me, there is always a balance between ROI, and everybody in the business world knows what ROI is, right? Return on investment. But what we forget sometimes is it's actually your energy that drives your strategy. So your ROE, your return on energy, will drive your ROI. And there are so many times when people come in saying, you know, I'm hitting this income plateau. What's wrong with me? They're misaligned. Their frequency is not set at the frequency of success for their business. And it's almost like trying to listen to pop music while your radio is set on the frequency of jazz. You can't do that. And it was so good when Jose talked about how, you know, abundance is not just about getting the money. It's about actually living the life and holding that amount of energy so that you get to enjoy it. The question I get asked all the time when people are like, you're a money manifestation coach, why do people who win lottery end up broke? Because energy of money needs a capacity. If you don't have enough capacity, it is going to spill. So what was incredible about the room in New York City for the New York City Mastermind experience is the capacity, the energetic capacity that was created was greater than the initial input that came in. And so people were able to grow and expand over the course of Mastermind, feeling that capacity. And that's why nothing spilled. That's why people built connections. They felt heard and seen and understood and had aha moments and breakthroughs because they had room to grow.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And you know, one of the things that really inspired me is the amazing speakers that we had. Everyone shared something different, something valuable, and made an impact. I know it made an impact when you spoke. It made an impact not only on me but other people. Everybody was literally at the edge of their seats when every speaker went up, and so I am so grateful to all the speakers. I'm grateful to you, Lena, that you were a speaker at our event, and it was just magnificent. I got to tell you.
Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, and guess what? Now you get to experience it with us in Tampa. Heather,
That's right.
Oh,
Heather
Yeah.
Shannon. I call you Shannon, right? You'll get to experience what I'm talking about and what
yeah,
Lena's
that's fun that
talking
you
about.
guys kind of travel around with where you have it.
Yeah, we're going to Ireland after that. So Ireland is April 22nd through the 27th. We just expanded it by today. It was going to be 23rd to 26th. Now we're in 22nd, 27th because we want to have some fun, right?
I love Ireland. So beautiful. Very hospitable people.
Yeah. So look, warmer weather too in Tampa. It wasn't that cold, was it?
Well, our cold here, just for reference, it's like 60 degrees is pretty cold here.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So Jose to send a text.
Okay.
Pretty much is, hey, I have to go. My kids are breaking things down. So they have to leave us. It'll be the three of us. Hell is breaking loose, but when you have a dad like Jose and a mom like Katie, they'll handle it easily. But so he wishes us all a great rest of the show. So let's continue this conversation about how we mix the money and the sexual energy, if you will, because people are going to say, wait a minute, isn't sex how people buy? I mean, people buy money, sex with money. Yes, but they're missing the real point. What they're trying to do is have a connection that's fake. And I think real money brings a real connection when we use it right. When we use it wrongly, yeah, there's prostitution, there's all that kind of stuff. People are buying drugs with money. People are doing the wrong things with money. But when we do the right thing with money, we can be charitable. And I think that's one of the things I do a lot of charity work. And I think that when we do the money right, it helps people. And you can both talk about the energy that goes behind helping someone, because you both are helping people in different aspects of what they need. Would you mind sharing?
I'm not totally sure if I'm clear on the question. So you're saying energy, you want us to talk about the energy that goes beyond helping someone?
The energy that's used to help someone, right? To acquire maybe a better sexual, because you work with couples, how they can communicate better,
Yeah.
how they can work together. And
Yeah.
and Lena, you work with people who are in business, but sometimes they're forgetting that business is part of their life, and the other part is their spouse or their children and all these different things. That maybe even though you start with the money aspects, that you show them how to truly make impact with their money. So if I hope I was clearer now.
That makes sense. So with the way that I help people, I think it's kind of what I said before, like it's all about creating a foundation. So I start with emotional intimacy. I find that for a lot of people, it's a prerequisite for them to have great sex, especially in a marriage or a very long-term relationship. So that looks like, do you have clear intentional priorities? If someone were to look at your life, does it look like you're prioritizing your relationship? Are you making time for each other? Part of that is also making some time for yourself, because people can be really depleted, right? So if people are really depleted and they're touched out and they're burned out, it's hard to want to be sexual with your partner. If they're not feeling okay in their body, it might be like, hey, I got to take care of myself in some ways first before I can kind of be bringing my full self to the table. And then we also look at, are you expressing your emotions? Do you know your emotions? Can you name them? What does that feel like in your body? And then how do you communicate them? So those are kind of the 3 steps of creating that emotional foundation. And there's a lot of skill involved, a lot of practice involved. And then the next step that I take people to is kind of creating the sexual foundation. So that's like body confidence. Do you feel okay about being naked with your partner? Can you be present in your body? Do you understand how desire works and like what ignites desire for you? So it's not just this like confusing mystery of like, well, I don't know, we accidentally had great sex, but I have no idea why. Like, I want people to know why and to feel, because I felt like that, to be honest. You know, when I was in a long-term relationship in the past, I lost my own interest and I had no idea why. I'm like, is this just what happens? Is this my birth control pill? Is something wrong with the relationship? You know, there can be this confusion state that people are in that can be really hard. And then also consent, and that includes emotional safety. So like, do you feel like this is somebody that you can be vulnerable with? Are there past resentments that are lingering and kind of turning you off? So we kind of like clear the decks a bit. And I'm so curious actually to hear how Lena does this with money and if there's overlaps. And then we get to the juicy stuff. So I have kind of like we talked about the first two circles, and the third circle is like the fun one. It's like, great, now we've done the hard work, we've created the foundation. Let's get into what are your mental turn-ons? What are your physical turn-ons? What are your fantasies? And really like knowing each other deeply as sexual beings. And so all of this whole pathway to passion that I take people through is kind of building the steps to get there. And we're really creating the conditions for passion to happen.
Nice. Yeah, thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Now let's hear Lena. I'm excited. I only have one hand. I would be clapping with you. I can do this.
I feel the energy of the
right? Heather, I feel like we are connected at the hip because, well, first of all, we are talking about the subject that nobody wants to talk about.
Yep.
Right.
Because it's a taboo subject.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants it and nobody wants to talk about it. Like, how are we going to talk about it? Sit down. So just like what Heather talked about with sex and having good relationship and feeling the intimacy, it starts with feeling safe. You will not be able to hold the energy of money if you don't feel safe. Because money is power. Money is momentum. Money is a tool. If you're not feeling safe in your own skin, if you don't trust yourself with money, you're not going to be able to hold it. I literally had a conversation with a client this week, and, you know, very prominent person, has an incredible business, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and always questions the investment decisions. And we were reflecting on a decision that was a no, and actually was the right no. And so I was complimenting, saying, you know what, I'm so proud of you because you feel that you always throw money to the wind and you firmly stood your ground. You said no, and that was the right call. And the answer to me was, well, that was only because I didn't have enough to invest. It wasn't my decision. I just didn't have enough to invest. And I was like, oh my God, we just unlocked your block. You don't trust yourself with money. And the person goes, no, I don't. So naturally, the business couldn't bring in more money because in that person's mind, more money was equated to, I will cause more damage because I am irresponsible. I don't control my investments well. I will destroy. So for that person, the energy of money was a destruction. So I start literally with all of my folks that I work with by having them feel safe with money and normalizing having the money, putting some actual dollar bills in their wallets. Like if you open your wallet, do you have cash or do you have receipts? So what do you train your mind on? The evidence of absence, like because receipts are what? Money left, so there is nothing there. Or every time you open your wallet, there is cash looking at you. It's basic stuff. And then after we establish the foundation of feeling safe, then we talk about your ability to receive. Everybody talks about what an amazing giver they are. And they're like, I can't receive. It's going to be really tough for you to have a good sex if you can't receive. I'm just going to say it.
Yep.
And you won't be able to attract significant amount of money because if you can't receive it, you cannot receive with a closed hand. So I do feel that, you know, when we talk about strong energies like money, like sex, like power, like influence, it actually builds up on very basic, safe ability to receive, ability to hold, and then intention. What is your intention? What are you going to do with it? Because I can give you all the money in the world, but if you don't have ability to circulate it, what are you going to do with it? Money is like oxygen. If I tell you, Sifu, inhale and don't let your breath out, eventually you're going to suffocate. And if I tell you, exhale and won't let you breathe in, you're going to suffocate. The same is true with money. If you're only spending or only saving, you're interrupting the flow. Money is meant to circulate. So I hope that kind of answered a little bit the question.
Oh my God. You both are so aligned.
Yes, you have to be able to.
I know. It's really fascinating, the overlaps.
Yeah. Because relationships, it's how we take them, how we evolve with them, how we negotiate with I that's why I said my son's a great negotiator, right? Because from early on he would ask, how can I get this? And I would say this. He goes, well, let's figure it out. And eventually he got me to go half in on him when I wasn't going to even buy him anything that day, right? So it goes to expand that we all should be negotiating every single day. What is our life going to look like? What is our financial status going to be like? What is our relationships with another human being going to be like? And when I looked at my fiance earlier today and I said, did I tell you how much I love you today?
Oh,
And I did earlier, but she was kidding with me. She goes, no. I said, well, I love you very much. And then she came and gave me a kiss, right? And I wasn't even looking for a kiss. I just got lucky, right? But it's how we communicate with our relationships or within our relationships and how we communicate with money. What is this money going to do for me? What is it going to do for my family? What's it going to do for my community? Because if you only say what's it going to do for me, you're not living a life that's worth living, in my opinion, because you can do what it was in the old days. People hid money under their mattresses, and then there was a house fire and their mattresses went up. Hello. Or you can live like, I'm going to say, not Jose Escobar, but our other friend Escobar, the Colombian guy, right? And he buried money. There's still money buried in Colombia that people haven't found. Now, why was he burying money? Because of greed. And because it was all blood money, if you will. And he'd rather hide it, but still continue taking from the same people who were his neighbors. So he did nothing for his community. It was all him. So greed is a negative thing that we need to let go of and truly embrace what money is meant for. It's currency. You can't hold on to it. You gotta give it. You gotta let it circulate, right? Lena can tell you about circulating money. Tell us about that, Lena, because you help people who are stuck in a plateau and you take them to a higher level. Please share that with us, because I know you this is what you do.
Yeah. Well, and it is incredible how painful it feels when there is a blockage of energy related to anything, especially to money. I mean, it's middle of the day. Most of us have had lunch by now. Have you ever had an experience of undigested food sitting in your body? It almost feels like you're having a heart attack, right? Like that, like indigestion can give you a feeling of a heart attack. Well, when energy gets trapped in your body, it creates physical symptoms. It's real. It's not woo-woo. It's measurable. There are actually countries in the world that will measure your, we're going to call it aura, they call it electromagnetic field, before they do a serious medical procedure. Because depending on how strong your electromagnetic field is, they can predict your recovery. So I'm applauding how fast you're recovering, Sifu, and I would guess that if we were to measure your electromagnetic field, it's probably very strong. So your recovery is very speedy and uneventful. When it comes to money, which you were describing when somebody was hiding it, that is not the energy of abundance. That is not the energy of flow. That is the energy of scarcity and lack. How many of you have heard about the law of attraction? Heard about it? Okay. The bottom line is likes attract likes. We are a frequency. We can only vibrate on one frequency at a time. If somebody is set at the frequency of lack, desperation, anger, regret, remorse, fear, they cannot possibly attract experiences that are vibrating at the frequency of joy, happiness, life, freedom. So even if somebody is bearing the money in the ground, that doesn't make them a wealthy person, because they're not able to convert that into the enjoyment, into happiness, into feeling the benefit of what they've made, right? So when we talk about money in business, nobody ever starts their business just to make money. It's about building the legacy, serving people, contributing, serving the expansion of the world, sharing their gift. So once we really tap into that frequency, money becomes a byproduct. We are never working on making money. We are calibrating you to a higher frequency where all of your experiences that you want become a natural match to the vibe. And then it will either be money or experiences. It doesn't matter. I have a fun story I'm going to tell you real quick because it just lands this topic so beautifully. I worked with a businesswoman who got really, really good with manifesting what she wanted. And it almost became a game. And that's when you know that this is now part of her matrix. Like she embodied it. She put it in her body. So they were going on a vacation and she said, I want to manifest $500, like out of thin air. And I'm like, okay, why? She's like, because there is a really cool spa package there and it's $500 and I don't want to pay for it. I'm like, let's go. So I take her through visualization. We do the work. We imagine, we ground her in the frequency of what she wants. She calls me from the airport 2 days later. She's like, girl, where's my $500? I'm like, hold the vision. See yourself at the spa. Enjoy the massage, whatever you're getting, hold the vision. They land in Caribbean. She calls me. She's like, where's my $500? I'm like, hold the vision. I work with the best people. She texts me from the hotel. So when they checked into the resort, the travel agent booked a special package for them. And that experience at the spa came complimentary.
What? $500. There you go.
They'll point to this story that if we're locked in on $500, we might not get it. But if we hold the vision of what would having that money give us and we stay on that frequency, it's going to be delivered one way or another.
Oof.
It's like when you order furniture for your house, do you care how the delivery crew is going to bring it in? Do you care which route they're going to take? Just get it here in one piece. Like
that. That's it. Love it. You talked about energy and how we have to think about it, and you talked about something that is part of my method. So let me share this one last video with you, ladies.
You've followed the rules, tried the restrictions, counted the carbs, the steps, and the failures. You're not lazy, you're exhausted from doing it all without real change. What if the problem isn't you, but the plan? Sifu's Mind-Body Method is a 90-day transformation built on 7 unshakable pillars: mindset, movement, nutrition, hydration, fasting, journaling, and faith. This isn't another shortcut. It's your structure, your strength, your reset. You don't need harder, you need better. Ready to begin? Start today.
Every day we should start. So funny story, and I know we're done with time, but at the hospital they said that I had to fast from the 11 p.m. to whenever my surgery is. But I was already fasting because that's part of my system, right? And so the last thing I ate was at 1:30 in the afternoon. So when they asked me at the hospital, when was your last meal? And I said, yesterday at 1:30. They're like, why? I said, because that's how I want my body to heal properly. I want my body to receive what I'm going to receive, right? And then another gentleman came over, a different nurse, and he goes, how was breakfast this morning? I said, it was great, the best air I ate. He goes, oh, really? Well, did you put a little salt or pepper on it? I said, no. I said, nothing. I like it clean. So think about how we live our lives is, and the reason I did this program is because I'm tired of seeing people reaching for the money, but forgetting their health, forgetting their relationships, forgetting who they are as a person. So that's the only reason I've created this program, because it's worked for me. I might as well have worked for other people. So at this point, we are almost done with time, but I cannot let you ladies go without you giving you 45 seconds to tell us why somebody should connect with you. Lena, you're up on first. So, and let me tell you, I'm so happy we're connected. That's all I'm going to say. Stage is yours.
Thank you so much. Same to you, Sifu. So I would love to talk to anybody who feels that they're spending more time at night liking and loving inspirational posts on social media instead of living them. If you feel that you have hit a plateau, if you feel that while you might be a picture of success to your friends and family, but you are just not fulfilled, it's because there is an undigested lunch in your system. There is an unlocked potential that is trying to get out. And contrary to a popular belief, you don't need to travel to Tibet. It's not going to take $10,000 and 50 hours of intense therapy to get you to where you need to go. So can I help anybody? No. Can I help you? Let's talk and find out.
Boom. Yes. Definitely you need to find out with her. Whether you're listening now or on the replay, you need to connect with Lena. Now, my next guest is going to help you in your relationships, and I'm going to let her take it away.
Thank you so much.
Heather, Shannon, you're up.
Yeah. So if people are feeling like they're stuck in a sex rut, that would be a good time to reach out to me. So if you're feeling burned out, if you're feeling touched out, if you have little kids and you've noticed that your sex life is kind of fallen by the wayside amidst just kind of the chaos of life. If you and your partner maybe have some differences that you're trying to figure out, like, are we compatible enough? Can we navigate these differences? Is there sort of a bridge? Can we stay connected? That's a great example too. So I actually have a free quiz for people, and I can put that in the comments as well. But it's called "Why Are You Stuck in a Sex Rut?" and it goes over the top 5 most common patterns that I see with people. And I think it's important that people identify what is their number one pattern that's getting in the way of them having a great sex life. Because when people come to me, it's not that they're not aware there's an issue, and it's not that they haven't been trying anything, but it's maybe that they haven't properly diagnosed what the actual issue is that needs their attention. And so that's where this quiz comes in. So people can find that at thebetterbedroom.com. Free quiz, betterbedroom.com.
Nice. And your website is up there, heathershannon.co. So please check it out. I'm just going to say one quick thing. I overheard while I was driving to the hospital, my fiance was flipped because she was driving, right? So she flipped through the stages, and there was some morning show or something where a woman was debating whether to tell her boyfriend, who was, her kids had fallen in love with the guy, whether it was working or not, because she felt like they were not connecting, but she didn't want to break his heart, especially because Christmas is 2 weeks away and his kids really love him. So I said, cut the cord and let the poor guy go, because it's not fair to him to keep holding on to a false relationship. So that was just my advice to my own head. So I just thought I'd share that with you guys. But you need to, maybe they need to reach out to you.
Right.
So thank you both for being here. I am Sifu Rafael. I'm not hard to find. You can find me at sifurafael.com. And my goal is to help you in any way I can, because life is too short not to enjoy every little bit of it. Ladies, what can I say? I am blessed to know you both. God bless. And everybody listening to the show, do me a favor, share it with somebody who couldn't listen to it. Maybe they're at work, maybe they're somewhere else, but share the show with somebody. Some great, great information was shared today. Thank you, ladies. Have yourself an exceptional. Wait, we have one last comment, and it is by Heather. BetterBedroom.com.
Right.
I love the comments. Thank you, Heather. Everybody, God bless. Have a great one.
Bye, everybody.